Well, hello everyone. My name is Endomoto. This is my very first YouTube video, and today we're going to be covering something that I wasn't expecting to really do today, or well, at any point. I never really thought about making a YouTube channel, frankly, until very recently, and yeah, I'm just doing this to see whether you guys are going to like it. So what we're doing first here is Spinosaurus, because whole lot of you guys on Reddit seem to really like the idea of me drawing Spinosaurus in this sketchy little art style. And well, I really couldn't say no, because number one, there were quite a few votes, 5. But yeah, no, I'm very happy to draw Spinosaurus. It's not every day that I really do that, to be honest. Um, well, yeah. Some things that you may notice right away from this drawing of mine is that I make a lot of mistakes. But really, it's part of the way that I draw. It's not really, like, I've never really had stuff click with that, with the ball and line method that a lot of other artists do. It's never really clicked for me personally. But drawing in my own way, this sketchbook way, it's the way that I've been drawing dinosaurs since I was very, very little. I was a Jurassic Park fan before Jurassic World ever came to my attention. And yeah, I I was really excited to do that. So, Spinosaurus. It's an animal that I'm pretty sure all of you guys know. It's a theropod from the Bahariya formation, which is coincidentally the formation that I am drawing here. And it's a piscivore, meaning that it only eats fish, and it was built to do so. Aside from other bodily adaptations, which I'll get into, it had a long crocodile-like snout, which was used to catch fish. Maybe small dinosaurs here and there, but its main food source was the giant fish that lived in the rivers of the Bahariya Formation. And you'll see one of these fish in the jaws of Spinosaurus when I finish the upper head here. Now, what else do I know about Spinosaurus? Well, other major aspects of its body include long talons, long arms for a theropod to use for grappling, grasping its prey, which again is fish, which I am starting to draw here, and a paddle-like tail to propel itself, I guess, in the water. I have a theory on that I'll explain. And, of course, the traditional sail. Now, the fish that I'm drawing right now is a juvenile Mawsonia. Mawsonia is a large coelacanth. What a coelacanth is, it's a lobe-finned fish that existed during the during the time of the dinosaurs, of course. It's a major, it's a large, it's a semi-large group of fish. But Mawsonia in particular was one of the largest examples of a coelacanth that you could ever find. It was around the size of a car and very heftily built. I chose not to draw a full-grown Mawsonia, particularly because I am not really... I didn't really want to make a full big fish for this particular drawing. I may do it in the future, but not for this one. I wanted to do something special. I had something in mind, so I went for a juvenile Mawsonia. The other big fish in the Bahariya formation is, correct me if I'm wrong, basically a giant sawfish. Onchopristis, that's the name. Onchopristis was a large sawfish relative. It was part of the group of animals that includes sharks and rays. So that that is cool. And and yeah, it's another one of Spinosaurus's most preferred prey items, and the one that is more often shown in documentaries. Like I've seen quite a few documentaries portraying Spinosaurus eating Onchopristis, and it's particularly the reason why I'm choosing Mawsonia here for this specific purpose. Now, as you can see, I am not really much of a drawer of fish. I do not draw fish that often. I have never really drawn fish to the same extent that I have dinosaurs. So the Mawsonia that you see on screen will look a little wonky. But, sorry, but that's all right. Uh, as a as a good man once said, there are no mistakes, only happy accidents. And I wholeheartedly agree with that. So, Mawsonia will be a little bit wonky, but I plan on working on my fish drawings and my dinosaur drawings in general as this show goes along, as I continue to put in more drawings into this book that you're seeing me drawing now. And potentially, we could end up drawing some very great Mawsonias in the near future if I practice doing it, of course. And the same goes for Spinosaurus as well. I've never really drawn Spinosaurids in the same extent that I have with other theropods like Tyrannosaurs, Carcharodontosaurs, even raptors. So, and it's particularly because of Spinosaurus's very weird head. I'm not really a fan of drawing Spinosaurus from any other angle other than side, like a side profile. And so it's a reason why I haven't really drawn that much of like Spinosaurids before. But I plan on changing that, starting with this drawing here. So yeah, you can see me really fumbling around with Mawsonia's tail fins there. Mawsonia's tail was particularly challenging for me because one, it's at an angle that is really weird to do, and it's a really weird tail section that Mawsonia has going for it. It's really strange to me, at least. It's like, I can't even describe it because it's not even like any fish that I know today besides the Arapaima. And even then, the Arapaima would theoretically be easier to draw because it has a longer, like, fin section of the tail. So, yeah, you can tell that Mawsonia was really vexing me from the first moment. I added a lateral line there, as you can see as well. But yeah, no, I'm a bit inexpertised when it comes to fish, and well, I plan on getting better if this channel continues with viewership, I hope. But yeah, talking more about the setting though, the Bahariya Formation is not just the animals that I will be showing here. You will notice that I'll be drawing a few other things. I will be drawing like a tree, a bush on the lower right corner. I wasn't really going for too much detail in the background, and that's my bad. I mean, it's my first drawing. It's a sketch. I didn't really plan on putting the biggest amount of effort into this first foray into YouTube territory. If you guys want more effort out of this sort of thing, this would be probably like an hour long, like more than an hour long video, because the recording itself of this whole thing was pretty much like an hour. It took me an hour to do everything, and what you're seeing now is the cut version of what I believe were the more important segments of me drawing. So now that I've drawn the neck here for Spinosaurus that I've decided on, I get on to the torso. And I do that first by outlining where the neck, like, where that weird, like, section of the neck, that V-shaped, like the collarbone, the collarbone, like where that would be. I visualize that, and then I go around and make the shoulders based on that. So Spinosaurus is, again, a very hefty predator with large arms. And those will be off the ground, at least for this drawing, because I don't really think that there's a set, like, consensus on Spinosaurus, specifically posture. I don't think there is. I was looking for it, but I've seen both ends of the argument. One, it could be like a knuckle walker, like shown in Dinosaur World. Amazing Dino World was the documentary. Yes. That was a documentary, I believe, made by Korea or Japan. I forget exactly what. But it was a really cool documentary. I recommend it. And yeah, it was showing Spinosaurus doing knuckle walking. I wasn't exactly sure whether that's the case or whether Spinosaurus is bipedal still. But for this drawing, it's bipedal. It's on only its two hind legs. So that's my drawing of it. Now, funnily enough, the claws were also vexing me for this one. Spinosaurus has very long claws, at least for the first big claw you could call it the thumb claw almost. It's a really weird claw, and I've seen multiple ways of people drawing it, and so it kind of confused me. So if the claws look a little bit funky, yeah, that's my bad. But overall, yeah, you can see that my drawing is all over the place. I plan on getting better on this. As I said, this is my first video. This was a bit of a messy sort of thing that came together, but I plan on doing better next time. I plan on actually speaking while I'm drawing next time, if I happen to have a more easy to draw muse, or a muse that's more familiar to Ma. So yeah, well then, as you can see, I'm not really hurrying too much when it comes to the fingers. I really wanted to get these right. Even now, looking at the final product, I don't really think I got it that right, but it is what it is. Anyway, talking more about the Bahariya, because I believe I went on a tangent there. The Bahariya is a large formation in Africa, I believe. Yeah, I think so. In Africa, that yields a variety of early to mid-Cretaceous species, like Spinosaurus, like Onchopristis, like Mawsonia that I've been mentioning. But it wasn't just all river systems and Spinosaurs over there either. There was also a Carcharodontosaurid, mainly Tamaryraptor, if I'm pronouncing it correctly, known from material that was once referred to Carcharodontosaurus. I believe Tamaryraptor is the Carcharodontosaurid that is present. I believe it's a very new study that says that. I could be wrong, though. I mean, I was informed by a Vivid video about it while he was covering the Chem beds. Shout out Vivid, by the way. Yeah, no. And yeah, I've so yeah. Okay, I went on another tangent there. So, besides Tamaryraptor, the big Carcharodontosaurid, the big apex predator of the formation, what else is there? Well, Carcharodontosaurids really liked to hunt sauropods. So, what sauropod was there? Well, there were two, at least from my current knowledge. One of them is Aegyptosaurus, which I only really know from like a card that I used to have as a kid. I used to have like this like card set of dinosaurs, not like playing cards, but like just cards in general. Um, but yeah, it was like a card set of dinosaurs. Really, really fun because they were probably one of my first exposures to dinosaurs in general. So yeah, I knew Aegyptosaurus from literally that one thing, and then Paralititan I knew from my book, from a book that I had for a very long time of dinosaurs. I don't recall the name right now as I am recording this. But yeah, both of them I knew passingly, but I got to research both of them while making this drawing. Again, this is just a sketch, so the, the sauropod I choose to draw that I'll be talking about when it's getting drawn, I'm not really... I'm gonna touch upon it, but I don't really know too much about it because I mean they're not really the sauropods I was familiar with. Anyway, you can see that I made the sail here and the upper leg. I make the upper leg first because it's useful to me, and you'll also see that I made the other upper leg on the other side of the animal. That's to help me with placing both of my lower legs when they eventually get drawn, so that I can figure out where in space this Spinosaur is once I actually, get to doing that. Right now, I'm drawing the paddle tail of the Spinosaur. I believe the cross-section looks a lot like what you'll see on the very end of the tail, on the bottom right side where it's like transitioning from left to right. I believe that's what the cross-section looks like. That's what I was trying to go for. The paddle tail of Spinosaurus, only discovered back in 2022, I believe. And it's a very cool discovery, to say the least. Made Spinosaurus turn into what I affectionately called the tadpole of the dinosaur world. But it was a giant tadpole. But I still love it for it. Spinosaurus is a very interesting animal, and getting to draw it for you guys is kind of a treat for me, because otherwise I would never really be drawing Spinosaurus. Now, I will notice sooner or later that I made the legs a little too long for for Spinosaurus here, but that'll come later on, so I'll talk about it more later on. But yeah, I chose to have Spinosaurus in this posture, and you'll see why later on again. But more about the Bahariya. Well, again, as I said, it was more or less a swampland. Although I could be wrong. I think it was more like a marshy sort of area. And that sort of coastal aesthetic lends to a lot of its ecosystem. A lot of the large organisms in the Bahariya were, in fact, fish. Like, they weren't really anything else other than fish, water-going reptiles like crocs. I don't exactly remember the name of some of them, but again, crocs. Quite a few different fish. Again, I believe there was yes, the enigmatic Bahariasaurus that Vividan has to do a video on after this, because I kind of want to draw Bahariasaurus if it ever turns out to be a Megaraptorid. That'd be cool. But Bahariasaurus, again, it's a very indeterminate taxon. I'm not really too aware of where the standing is now of what exactly it is. It'd be cool to know what that is, Vividan. I don't know. That's really all else I can talk about when it comes to Bahariya. I'm not really too well versed in that. But again, it's not really a very, very well known formation, even though it contains probably one of the most famous dinosaurs of this new time. It's not that uh it's not really that well studied because I mean, where are all of the dinosaurs? I mean, Carcharodontosaurs like Tamaroraptor were probably hunting something else when they were young. So I see there to potentially be some form of like hadrosaurid presence, but I haven't really seen much of that. Maybe it's in the Chem beds as a whole, but I'm not really too sure about that. Either way, you can see right now I'm putting a little bit more detail into Spinosaurus here. You'll see that on the, like right around the leg, you'll see that I did a few folds on the body, on its flank. That's something that I usually do. It's something to indicate, folds of skin. I've only just really gotten into doing this. I've like never really like drawn dinosaurs to the extent that I did all of the little details, but at this point, with where I want to go and what I want to do with this sort of drawing, I kind of have to learn to, go for folds of skin. And you can see right now that I'm also doing detailing on the sail and tadpole fin section of Spinosaurus right now. And that's also for the same reason. I'm putting a little bit of dimensions to it. Not too much, but it's there. Again, this is more or less a sketch. I haven't really put too much detail into this, even though it is a decent drawing from what I think, at least. But yeah, you can see right now that I'm doing the bank section. That's the foreground section that I planned on doing. And I'm also doing a small little plant there. I don't exactly remember what I based the plant off of. I remember that I did base it off of something. I believe it was a form of fern or conifer, like the tree that I'm currently drawing in the background on the banks of the river. But I'm not too well versed in paleobotany. I'm not really an Ellie Settler. I'm more of an Alan Grant when it comes to that sort of thing. So yeah, I'm not I'm not really well versed in trees. I could potentially get to drawing trees in the future, but I am not really that good at drawing plants. Every time that I draw one, it either turns out to be like a palm tree, or it turns out to be like really bad looking. But again, I can learn, and I plan on doing that with this channel because it, whatever you guys vote for, whatever you guys want me to do, it gets me out of my comfort zone and it improves me as an artist, and potentially to your amusement as well, and maybe also helps you guys. So, it's a learning process, but it's a learning process for all of us. It's a learning process for me. I've never really done a YouTube video for like serious matters before, so I may as well do it now. So I am at the moment planning on what I'm exactly going to be doing. I believe that I will start right now. Oh, yep. Doing some like water sections at the moment for the to make it look like it's waving water. That's what I wanted to do, and that's, the aesthetic I was going for. It's not really that clear there though. So yeah. I did mountains in the background. I'm not really sure on how accurate that is. If it's very inaccurate, I apologize. I mean, I'm not really that used to the Chem. I don't really know if there were mountains in the distance. There surely had to be, right? But I am not only going to be doing Spinosaurus, or at least this Spinosaurus today. It is the main muse, and as you can see, I'm putting like little sensory pits on the thing. I don't know how I don't know how accurate that is, but I did it because, Spinosaurus is very similar to a crocodile. It had those pits, I believe, on its skull. if I am not wrong. So potentially it could have had like some form of pattern there. I am not sure though. If I'm wrong, you guys can tell me, and I'll I'll like fix the drawing. So what else am I doing? Because I can't just leave it at this, right? Well, yeah, that's right. So after I detail this Spinosaur and after I finish that, I'll do a little bit of shading here, as you can see. I am doing this all, by the way, on like a very weird paper. I'm not really sure how to describe it, but I'm doing it on paper with a 2B pencil. Like that's the one this is the one thing that I'm working with. So as long as I only have these supplies, don't expect too much out of this. Oh, and I forgot to mention that I made Spinosaurus wade in water. Reason for it, I think I was inspired by one of Gabriel Ugeto's drawings, if I remember correctly. I don't know if it was him or if it was someone else, but I remember being inspired by that, so I wanted to go through with it. It didn't really turn out the best. Again, I am still improving. I still have to, grasp a little bit of the art. But for what it's worth, I do think that the Spinosaur portion really turned out pretty good. Now, you'll see what I'm drawing here, the new thing. That is a baby Spinosaur. So the reason why I'm drawing little baby Spinos is not just because, they're cute, it'd be fun, but also because I remember seeing a lot of people being kind of sad that the Walking with Dinosaurs 2025 Spinosaur died, leaving his kids. So it was kind of like a pity drawing almost for you guys, because I wanted to draw a few baby Spinosaurs and also pay homage to the series, even though it's not really a series that I've watched or ever really will watch. I don't really like where BBC went with it. I can't really call it Walking with Dinosaurs. It's not really Walking with Dinosaurs at all. It feels like a totally different documentary from what I've seen and from what I've heard. I may be wrong though, but I'm still not really a fan of at least from what I've heard about the thing. All of the designs look solid though, and there'll be designs that I may or may not emulate depending on what animals you guys want me to draw. So at the very least they're accurate, but I don't really like the storytelling or the fact that they switch that 30 minutes out of 60 or something was dedicated to just pure real life stuff and discovering Spinosaurs or Albertosaurs or, God knows what else. So yeah, talking about documentaries while I'm still doing this little baby Spinosaur. Really excited for oh god, I was gonna say Life on Our Planet, but I was so wrong. Oh geez. Yeah, we're not gonna talk about that series again. I watched it, not really the greatest. I'm really excited for Prehistoric Planet Ice Age. I mean, I'm a guy from California, and I like the Cenozoic. It's not really my cup of tea. I prefer dinosaurs. I prefer the Mesozoic. I'd really like to see the team behind Prehistoric Planet delve into the late Jurassic, particularly my favorite period in North America. Allosaurus, seeing Allosaurus, Stegosaurus, and Diplodocus, my favorite personally, would be really cool. But that's my wish list. It's not something that will come out of thin air. So, yeah, no, I'm excited for the Cenozoic Prehistoric Planet. That'll be fun. But yeah, I'm also drawing a second baby Spinosaur, as you can see, standing up waiting for the for the small little juvenile for the juvenile giant coelacanth to come over and be plopped down. It's the reason why I drew a little bank on the bottom. So yeah, little baby Spinosaur. I was inspired as well by some of the drawings that I saw on Reddit. I remember seeing this really colorful drawing of a Spinosaur with its kids, and one of them was like doing the T pose on a crab, and I was like, "Aw, that's adorable." And it was part of the inspiration that I'm doing here. I can't exactly describe it. I don't really know where it is. If I do, I might link it down below. But props to the artists who, help make this happen, really. Props to every artist that does this, because they are few and far between, but their styles range all over the place, and it's cool to see different animals and different styles. Really, paleo art is something that, it's really cool to do. I like doing paleo art. It's been a passion of mine since, again, elementary. Now I'm in junior year high school, and I'm still drawing dinosaurs, even though people said, hey, this is a phase, you'll grow out of it when you get older. To any people out there who have stuck this far and who have, heard time and again that, dinosaurs aren't cool, or, you'll get out of this phase, or you'll get out of any phase when you grow older. Don't automatically think that. Don't make that decision subconsciously in your head. Because in the end, it's good to have interests. It's good to have, niche interests. It's good to have niche like things that you like. And for me, dinosaurs is one of them. It's one of my biggest niche, it's one of my biggest niche obsessions. And it has been for a while. And it's the reason why I keep doing it. Because I like doing it. It frees me, from all of the stuff that you have to do day to day. It's not really it's not really video games, but it's way better than video games, frankly. I like drawing. It calms me. It's a nice break from studying when you just want to doodle and get stuff done. So yeah, I am now putting some final touches. I'm doing a little bit of shadowing for the Spinosaur. It's not really the best, frankly. I looked at my drawing again and I barely did any shadow. But again, I'll probably do better next time. And I'm really curious about what you guys are going to choose next time, because frankly, Spinosaurus is a really big way to start off this sort of channel. Well, yeah. Well, I'm yapping a lot, and right now I'm putting the finishing touches, so I'll just say the last few things in a moment when I start drawing Paralititan. Spoilers. Yeah, Paralititan. All right, you can see over there that I've drawn, or that I've started to draw Paralititan. I'm not exactly too sure about how to draw Paralititan. I've seen a lot of images, or a wide variety of images for Paralititan. I remember seeing a very Camarasaurus box head once when I was drawing it, or when I was when I was drawing it, but it was the head that I grew up with. It's the image that I had of Paralititan, that very boxy head. But turns out it's not. It may or may not be that way. I chose to go for an in the middle approach. I went for a semi-titanosaur, semi-basal macronarian approach here, because I wanted to homage kind of both of the designs that I've seen for Paralititan. I have a little bit of nostalgia for it. I mean, I have all of the like I have nostalgia for every dinosaur that I've really seen in my like first dinosaur book. So like Paralititan is certainly one of them. And it's kind of funny to think that like for a like Titanosaur, it's not exactly Camarasaurus, but they still put that sort of head on it anyways. But yeah, it's a Titanosaur, and if I must go over the facts, I believe it is around 80 feet long, weighing around 50 tons, I think. But it is one of Tamaraptor's probably its biggest prey item physically. I know that it has others. I believe that in the Chemchem beds there are other animals like Rabachisaurus and Limaesaurus, which are, again, Rabachisaurids. But I didn't really want to draw that. I wanted to draw animals exclusive to the Bahariya. And these are the animals that I stuck with. And so, yeah. Now, a little bit of explanation for this next Paralititan that I'm drawing. It is currently like trying to drink water. I didn't really pose this correctly. I kind of wanted to do a more like giraffe like pose for Paralititan, but I ended up just doing it like kind of normal. And I fear that it may or may not be too small. It depends. I don't really know. I'm second guessing myself even saying this because the tree that I made is tall and so is Paralititan. But either way, Paralititan is again a very hefty sauropod. It's about the only titanosaur that I really know from the area. Besides, I mean, yeah, like I don't really know many African titanosaurs, at least. I do know some of the smaller species like Nigersaurus. Oh god, the memes about that one. Nigersaurus, Rabachisaurus. I do know those, but like you never really hear too much about African titanosaurs. You only really hear about titanosaurs from like South America, like geez, all of those. Then you also hear about like Brachiosaurus, which may like well, apparently it did exist, but like it's a very fragmentary remain, yet it got so much attention because it's possibly like a really really big animal from India. Then you also hear about a lot of the Chinese sauropods like Mamenchisaurus, specifically Sinocadorum, and some of the other unnamed Mamenchisaurs that are like gigantic for almost no reason. So yeah, no, like you don't really hear much about them. So people who should, people who do digs, go look for sauropods. It'd be really fun to have some more like diversity in that area. Because the only other sauropods that I do know from like Africa are ones from the Jurassic. Like I know Giraffe Titan. That's like mainly the big one that I know. So yeah, please paleontologists figure that out. Also, to cover a little bit of recent paleo news that I've been aware of in the country of Peru, at least yeah. Yes, in the country of Peru, there were Spinosaur fossils, I think. Not of Spinosaurus, of course, like of something different. But they were Spinosaur fossils from a Maastrichtian, which is really interesting. That'd be really cool to learn more about. Hopefully the paper comes out soon. Because if those of you that don't know, Spinosaurs and the Maastrichtian are quite they are like that's a big deal. Most Spinosaur fossils were only really found in early to mid Cretaceous like fossil beds like Spinosaurus. So something in at the very end of the dinosaur lineage would be pretty cool. And it would mean that derived megalosaurs like spinosaurs lived on to the very end of the dinosaur era. That's cool, at least to me. A very old dinosaur lineage living on to the last little, like, the last little bit of that time. But, yeah, no, I'm just doing a few minor details now. I don't really have too much more to do for Paralititan, at least for now. I'll only really be doing a few little, a few little edits. And yeah, well, that's the video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. It's been a lot of me yapping, but hopefully at some point I can do this again, and hopefully it'll be better. So please like, maybe subscribe, I don't know. But anyways, I'll see you in the next one. Ciao.